This isn't just another warship. This is a 1,000-foot nuclear-powered fortress, carrying an entire air force that doesn't need permission to exist anywhere on Earth. With over 80 strike aircraft on board, it can hit targets hundreds of miles inland, while staying far beyond the reach of most defenses. So, what happens when a ship like this moves within striking distance of your country? Let's see. The geopolitical chessboard of the Middle East is currently witnessing a tectonic shift in military posturing as the United States prepares to consolidate an unprecedented level of naval supremacy in the region. At the heart of this escalation is the USS George H.W. Bush, CVN-77, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier that serves as the ultimate symbol of American power projection. As this leviathan of the seas departs from Norfolk, Virginia, its journey toward the eastern Mediterranean marks a pivotal moment in contemporary maritime strategy. This deployment does not merely represent a routine rotation of forces. Rather, it signifies a deliberate and massive accumulation of kinetic potential designed to alter the strategic calculus of every actor in the theater. For the first time since the high-intensity opening phases of the Iraq War in 2003, the United States Navy is on the verge of operating 3 distinct carrier strike groups, CSGs, simultaneously within striking distance of Iranian territory. This concentration of naval assets transforms the regional waters into a saturated combat environment, providing the Pentagon with a flexible, mobile, and nearly inexhaustible source of air power. The arrival of the Bush completes a maritime encirclement that places Iran's critical military infrastructure under a permanent 24-hour threat of surgical strikes. This massive buildup is a clear message to Tehran and its regional proxies that the window for conventional escalation is closing, replaced by the overwhelming reality of American and Allied interventionism. The context for this sudden surge in naval activity is rooted in an ongoing and intensifying air campaign that has already reshaped the tactical landscape of Western Iran. According to data released by U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, coalition forces have struck more than 3,000 targets in just over a week, a tempo of operations that rivals the most intense periods of the War on Terror. These missions have primarily focused on degrading Iran's ability to project force beyond its borders, specifically targeting mobile missile launchers and hardened command centers. By neutralizing the trucks and mobile platforms used to fire ballistic and cruise missiles, the U.S. and its Israeli allies are effectively stripping away Iran's primary tool of regional deterrence. However, the air campaign has recently evolved to address a more permanent and dangerous threat: the so-called missile cities. For decades, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, has constructed massive, fortified underground weapons depots carved deep into the limestone of the Zagros Mountains. These complexes are designed to be impervious to standard munitions, housing long-range launch systems and vast ammunition reserves intended for a protracted conflict. To counter these impregnable fortresses, the U.S. has reportedly authorized the use of bunker-buster bombs, such as the GBU-28 or the massive GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, MOP. These specialized weapons are engineered to penetrate dozens of meters of reinforced concrete and earth before detonating, turning Iran's underground sanctuaries into potential tombs for its strategic arsenal. Beyond the subterranean threat, the coalition has turned its sights toward Iran's burgeoning unmanned aerial vehicle, UAV, capabilities. The Shahed family of loitering munitions, which has gained international notoriety for its use in global conflicts, has become a primary target for American precision munitions. Multiple waves of strikes have decimated drone launch sites, storage hangars, and maintenance facilities across the country. By targeting the drone swarm infrastructure, the U.S. aims to eliminate Iran's most cost-effective method of asymmetrical warfare. As runways are cratered and hardened, shelters are bypassed by stealth technology. The question of how much of Iran's drone fleet remains operational becomes a central pillar of the current intelligence assessment. The maritime domain has proven equally perilous for Iranian forces, with the reported sinking of a converted merchant vessel serving as a makeshift drone carrier. This loss, combined with the destruction of over 30 IRGC Navy (IRGCN) fast attack craft, has effectively crippled Iran's ability to harass commercial shipping or conduct hit-and-run operations in the Strait of Hormuz. It is into this fractured and volatile environment that the USS George H.W. Bush enters, bringing with it a level of sophistication that few nations can match. As the 10th and final vessel of the Nimitz class, CVN-77 represents the pinnacle of 20th century carrier design, bridging the gap to the newer Ford-class ships. Named after the 41st president, himself a decorated naval aviator, the Bush is a city at sea, stretching 1,092 feet in length and displacing over 100,000 tons. Its two A4W nuclear reactors allow it to operate for 20 years without refueling, providing it with virtually limitless endurance to remain on station. The ship's embarked air wing, CVW, is its true primary weapon, consisting of over 90 advanced aircraft. This includes the F/A-18E/F Super Hornet, which provides the carrier with a lethal strike and air superiority capability, and the EA-18G Growler, a specialized electronic warfare (EW) platform, designed to suppress and destroy enemy air defenses (CAD). Together with the E-2D Advanced Hawkeye, the eyes of the fleet, the carrier group creates a combat ecosystem where every asset is digitally linked, allowing for real-time target acquisition and engagement hundreds of miles inland. The deployment is further bolstered by the arrival of European allies, most notably the French flagship Charles de Gaulle. This nuclear-powered carrier, equipped with Rafale M fighter jets, signals a unified Western Front that transcends bilateral U.S.-Israeli cooperation. The presence of multinational naval forces in the eastern Mediterranean serves to protect vital shipping routes and stabilize the global energy market, which remains sensitive to any disruption in the region. This combined armada represents a multifaceted threat to Iranian interests, blending American stealth and heavy bombardment with European versatility and surveillance. In tandem with the naval buildup, the United States has unleashed its global strike capability through the use of long-range strategic bombers. Aircraft such as the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, the B-52H Stratofortress, and the supersonic B-1B Lancer have been conducting sorties directly from the continental United States or from far-flung bases like Diego Garcia. These missions, some lasting over 30 hours, demonstrate a terrifying reality for the Iranian leadership. There is no rear area that is safe from American reach. The B-2 Spirit, in particular, has been instrumental in neutralizing high-value targets within the aforementioned missile cities, utilizing its low observable characteristics to bypass Iran's most advanced S-300 and domestically produced air defense networks. As this massive air and sea campaign reaches a crescendo, the strategic community is forced to consider the long-term implications of such a concentrated display of force. We are now entering a critical phase where the line between containment and total war has become perilously thin. The scale of the current operation suggests that the United States is no longer content with mere deterrence. It is actively dismantling the military architecture of its primary regional adversary. However, history warns that wars in the Middle East rarely adhere to the neat boundaries of a military planner's map. One must consider the possibility of a desperate Iranian counter-response. Should the Tehran regime feel its survival is at stake, it may resort to asymmetric escalation, utilizing its remaining ballistic missile stockpiles or sleeper cells across the region to strike at civilian infrastructure or oil facilities. Alternatively, the arrival of the USS George H.W. Bush could be the final weight on the scales that forces a diplomatic retreat, as the cost of continued defiance becomes mathematically impossible for Iran to sustain. Ultimately, the international community is left to contemplate two divergent paths for the coming months. Are we witnessing the final, decisive movements of a campaign designed to end a decades-long Cold War through overwhelming force and the restoration of regional order? Or are these deployments merely the opening salvos of a much larger, more catastrophic confrontation that will draw in global powers and redefine the map of the Middle East for the next century? The shadows cast by the 1,000-foot hulls of the American carriers currently stalking the Mediterranean may soon provide the answer, for in the world of high-stakes geopolitics, the arrival of such power rarely leaves the status quo intact. Thanks for watching, and see you in next video.